Hello everyone. Welcome to Anime Dreams, your go-to channel for exciting anime fanfics and discussions. Today, we're diving into part 2 of our fanfiction, What If Naruko Was Suna's Pride? Disclaimer, this channel is dedicated to entertainment and discussion purposes only. I do not own any of the anime footage used, full credit goes to the original creators and copyright holders. Now, without further ado, let's jump right into it. Welcome, Uzumaki Naruko, to the Ryu clan compound. Kurisu said enthusiastically, despite his earlier claims of being tired. Wow, Naruko murmured in awe as she gazed up at the massive structure before her. The building, nearly the size of the Hokage Tower, exuded an air of antiquity while maintaining a timeless beauty. Ivy, intertwined with striking blue flowers, cascaded down its stone walls. A tall, sturdy perimeter wall enclosed the estate, and at every corner of the roof stood grand statues of Chinese dragons, their fierce expressions giving the impression that they were guarding the residence. Naruko could have sworn one of the statues winked at her. The entrance gates were crafted from solid black onyx, with the Ryu clan emblem engraved at the center. 2 guards stood watch. One was an imposing man with a tall, muscular frame, his blonde mohawk making him stand out. His headband was tied around his forehead, partially covering his eyes, and he wore the standard uniform of a Suna Jonin. The other guard was a petite young woman, barely half an inch shorter than Naruko. She had dark blue hair arranged in a messy bun and deep blue eyes. She wore a fitted dark blue Chinese-style dress with an elegant light blue wave pattern, designed for combat. Her headband was loosely tied around her waist. Her poised demeanor suggested she was in her late teens. Kiji, we're back. Imii called out cheerfully, waving to the gatekeepers. I'm glad to see you return safely, Imii-sama, Kurisu-sama. And who is your guest? The tall man, Kiji, inquired with a polite nod. This is Naruko Uzumaki. She played a key role in helping my brothers rescue me, Imii explained. Kiji turned to Naruko with a warm smile and bowed slightly. Thank you, Uzumaki-san, for ensuring Imii-sama's safe return. Your efforts are deeply appreciated. Hey, what's going on? Kurisu asked casually. Nothing, Kurisu-sama, Mai replied, trying to hide a slight blush. Alright, well, I'll catch you later, Kurisu said as he pushed open the compound doors. As soon as they stepped inside, Naruko noticed a large crowd gathered around what appeared to be a sparring arena. Hey, Imii, what time is it? Kurisu asked. I think it's around noon, she replied, glancing up at the sun. And what usually happens at noon? Imii's face lit up with realization. Father's sparring match. She exclaimed before dashing toward the arena. Would you like to watch my father in action? Kurisu asked. Sure, Naruko said, following him toward the commotion. Inside the arena, a tall man effortlessly dodged an incoming attack, his tone carrying a hint of boredom. Please, try to make this interesting, he remarked. The man, Shujiki, towered over most people, standing at least 1.5 feet taller than Jiraiya. He wore a flowing white robe with a yellow sash tied around his waist. His hair was spiked in several directions, giving him a striking and fierce appearance. He carried dual katanas strapped in a crisscross fashion on his back. His muscular build was powerful yet balanced, not overly bulky but clearly formidable. Kurisu and Naruko finally made their way through the crowd and stood at the edge of the arena, watching intently. The last challenger your leader sent at least provided some warm-up, Shujiki sighed as he slowly unsheathed his swords. Oh well, if you insist on disturbing my family, I have no choice but to end this quickly. What happened next was nearly too fast for Naruko to follow. One moment, Shujiki stood motionless. The next, his body flickered, and in the blink of an eye, he had disarmed his opponent with a masterful technique. The sheer precision and speed of his movements left the audience in stunned silence. What? What just happened? Naruko exclaimed, wide-eyed. That was my father's Kaze Sutepu technique, Kurisu explained. Only those with a strong connection to wind affinity can learn it, at least, that's what he tells me every time I ask him to teach me, he added with a hint of frustration. Daddy! Imii cried out as she leapt onto Shujiki's shoulders, wrapping her arms around his neck in an affectionate hug. Ha ha! How's my little sweetheart? Shujiki asked warmly. I'm great. Oh, Daddy, I want you to meet someone. Naruko, come over here. Imii called out excitedly. Naruko stepped forward, meeting Shujiki's gaze. Something about him felt strangely familiar. From the look on Shujiki's face, it seemed he was thinking the same thing. A brief silence passed before both of their eyes widened in realization. You! They both shouted simultaneously, pointing at each other in shock. Ha ha ha, Naruko-chan. You're starting to resemble your father more and more, Shujiki exclaimed, giving Naruko a friendly pat on the shoulder, which nearly caused her knees to buckle under the force. I've been doing great, Shu-chan. I've been working really hard, just like you advised me to. Wait a second, you two know each other? Kuisu asked, looking slightly confused. Yeah, I met her when I was just a little kid back in Konoha, Shujiki explained. That's right. So, what brings you to Suna, Naruko-chan? Shujiki asked with curiosity. At that moment, Naruko's expression darkened, and she averted her gaze. Sensing the shift in mood, Kurisu stepped closer and whispered the explanation into Shujiki's ear. By the time Kurisu finished recounting the story of Naruko's exile, Shujiki's hands clenched into fists, his entire body trembling with suppressed emotion. He took a deep breath, slowly regaining his composure. There was a time and place for everything, and now was not the moment to dwell on his frustration. So, how did you two meet? Imii asked, still hanging onto Shujiki's arm. Well, that's quite a long story. Shujiki mused. Oh. Please tell me. I really want to know. Imii pleaded excitedly. All right. It all started about 8 years ago when I was visiting Konoha. Flashback no jutsu. A frightened 5-year-old Naruko sprinted through the streets, her tiny feet pounding against the pavement as an angry mob pursued her. Please, stop. I haven't done anything wrong. She cried, her voice filled with desperation. Turning a corner, she found herself in a narrow alleyway. Her heart sank as she realized, a dead end. No. Not here. Naruko whimpered, backing up against the cold wall. Tears streamed down her face as fear consumed her. Just as the villagers prepared to close in, a calm yet commanding voice rang out. Now. I don't think this is how the Yondaime would have wanted you to treat this child. From above, a figure leapt down, landing gracefully between Naruko and the approaching crowd. It was Shujiki. His expression was composed, yet his presence carried undeniable authority. Who do you think you are, interfering like this, Suna Shinobi? One of the Konoha Chunin demanded, glaring at the headband tied around Shujiki's arm. Shujiki's eyes remained steady. Who I am is of no concern to you. However, what is my concern is the fact that you are mistreating the child of my most trusted friend. With that statement, a wave of sheer intensity radiated from him. His aura alone was enough to send shivers down the spines of those present. Even the Chunin, who moments before had spoken with authority, suddenly felt the overwhelming pressure in the air. Now leave, Shujiki ordered, or you will regret it. The crowd hesitated only for a moment before fear took over. One by one, they scattered, the Chunin among the first to flee. As the tension faded, Shujiki turned back toward the trembling little girl. Kneeling down to her level, he spoke gently. Are you all right, little one? Naruko hesitated before slowly looking up, meeting Shujiki's kind, pupilless white eyes. Why yeah, I think so, she mumbled. Who are you? My name is Shujiki, he introduced himself with a reassuring smile. Now, how about we go get something to eat? Do you like ramen? Naruko blinked in confusion. Ramen? What's that? Shujiki gasped dramatically. By the heavens, you've never had ramen before? Well, that must be fixed immediately, he declared, placing a gentle hand on her shoulder as he led her toward a small, cozy shop. Before long, they arrived at Ichiraku Ramen. Hey, Tuchi-kun, it's been a while, Shujiki greeted as he and Naruko took their seats. The elderly shop owner turned and smiled. Shujiki-sama. It has been a while. What can I get for you? And who's this young one? He asked, gesturing toward Naruko. This is Naruko Uzumaki. She'll be dining with me tonight, Shujiki said warmly. Naruko looked at him in surprise. How did he know her name? She was certain she hadn't introduced herself. I'll take one of everything, Shujiki continued, and let's start Naruko off with a bowl of barbecue pork ramen. If she likes it, keep them coming. Tucci nodded and got to work, his daughter Ayame assisting him. After about half an hour of careful preparation, steaming bowls of ramen were placed in front of them. Here you go, 1 beef, pork, barbecue pork, shrimp, crab, chicken, seafood special, meat lovers special, veggie special, and 1 barbecue pork for Uzumaki-san. Enjoy, Tucci said as he and Ayame handed them their meals. Naruko hesitated, inhaling the mouth-watering aroma. It smells amazing, she thought as she broke apart her chopsticks. Itadakimasu, she exclaimed before taking her first bite. The moment the noodles touched her tongue and the rich broth slid down her throat, her eyes widened. It was like experiencing pure bliss. She eagerly took another bite, then another, until the bowl was completely empty. Shujiki and Tucci watched in amusement as Naruko polished off a third bowl in record time. Tucci chuckled. She's certainly got a healthy appetite. Naruko put down her chopsticks and turned to Shujiki with hopeful eyes. More, please, Shujiki-san, she asked enthusiastically. Shujiki laughed. Of course. Tucci, another round for the kid. And with that, Naruko's love for ramen was born. After Naruko had her fill, 20 bowls, to be exact, the two left Ichiraku Ramen and made their way toward the Hokage Tower. Where are we going now, Shu-chan? Naruko asked curiously. Shujiki smiled at the nickname. We're going to see the Hokage. There's something I need to discuss with him, all right? Okay. Naruko chirped as she reached up and took Shujiki's hand, happily walking alongside him. Upon arriving at the tower, Shujiki kept a sharp eye on everyone who passed, his gaze silently warning them to keep their distance from Naruko. When they reached the Hokage's office, he gently set Naruko down in a chair. Now, Naruko, wait here while I talk to the Hokage, all right? Shujiki instructed. All right, she replied, swinging her legs as she sat. Time passed, and the muffled sounds of conversation could be heard from behind the office door. Occasionally, voices were raised in argument. Naruko, unable to contain her curiosity, quietly cracked the door open to listen. Sarutobi, let me take Naruko back to Suna. I can provide her with a real home instead of leaving her here to struggle, Shujiki said firmly. Mind your words, Shujiki. I would love to let Naruko go with you, but the council. I don't care about their opinions, Shujiki interrupted, his voice filled with conviction. Naruko is my goddaughter, and I have a responsibility to her. Minato trusted me with her well-being. I intend to take her with me, regardless of what the council says. If you take Naruko, the council may see it as an act of hostility against Konoha, the Hokage warned. Shujiki froze, considering the weight of the statement. He turned back to the elder leader with a piercing gaze. Then I will return when she is 14. If she chooses to leave with me, then so be it. But if I find out she has been mistreated or harmed in my absence, there will be consequences, Shujiki declared. His words carried a sense of unwavering resolve. The Hokage sighed, knowing how stubborn Shujiki could be. Very well, Shujiki. Good, Shujiki said, before turning and exiting the office. Once outside, he leaned against the wall, running a hand through his hair as realization hit him. Did I really just challenge Konoha's authority like that? He muttered to himself. He knew that if the Hokage had been less understanding, his entire clan could have suffered for his words. He shook his head, pushing the thought away, and turned his attention back to Naruko. She had returned to her seat and was absent-mindedly swinging her feet. Minato. If only you could see what your people have put your daughter through. A single tear escaped from Shujiki's pale eyes. Are you okay, Shu-chan? Naruko asked, noticing his somber expression. Huh? Oh, yes, I'm fine, Shujiki quickly assured her, wiping away the tear. Just had something in my eye. Naruko's smile faltered. You're leaving, aren't you? She asked, her voice trembling. Shujiki sighed. I'm sorry, Naruko, but I have to go. No. Don't leave, Shu-chan. Let me come with you. Naruko pleaded, tears welling in her eyes. Shujiki knelt down and placed a reassuring hand on her head. I can't take you with me right now, but I promise that when I return, you'll have the choice to come with me, alright? Sniffling, Naruko nodded. Okay, Shu-chan. Hey, don't be sad, he said gently, ruffling her golden hair. Let me ask you something, do you want to become a ninja? Naruko brightened slightly. Yes, I do. Then I want you to train as hard as you can when you join the academy, alright? Shujiki encouraged. I will. I promise. Naruko said with determination. Good, Shujiki said with a small smile. Goodbye for now, Naruko. And with that, he disappeared in a flash, leaving Naruko sitting there, already looking forward to the day they would meet again. Wow, does this mean I have another little brother? Imai asked eagerly. Not exactly, Shujiki clarified. Naruko is now under my guardianship and will be living with us, but she is still Naruko Uzumaki. Alright, well, I'll see you all later. I'm really tired, Kurisu said, letting out a wide yawn as he walked off. Just then, Mato approached with two companions by his side. Hey, Dad, Imai, Naruko, what's going on? He greeted warmly. One of Mato's companions was a tall young man with dark hair and extremely pale skin. He wore a long black trench coat reminiscent of a classic traveler's coat, a pair of sunglasses, and a headband tied around his neck. His attire also included standard shinobi gear. The second companion was a cheerful young woman with short pink hair tied into a high ponytail that barely reached her neck. She had bright green eyes and wore fitted blue jeans with a crisp white t-shirt. Strapped to her back was a large iron fan, similar to the one Tamari carried, along with her own set of shinobi gear. Naruko turned to Mato with curiosity. Who are your friends? These are my teammates, Mato introduced, gesturing toward the pale-skinned young man first. This is Kuroi Kyuuketsuki, from the Kyuuketsuki clan. Greetings, Kuroi said in a voice that had an eerie yet composed quality to it. Mato then gestured toward the pink-haired girl. And this is Momo. Hello there. Momo chimed in with a bright and cheerful tone. Shujiki clapped his hands together. Shall we head to dinner? He suggested as he started toward the main part of the compound. Yes, please. I'm starving. Naruko groaned. Imai giggled before grabbing Naruko's arm and eagerly leading her inside. They entered a grand dining hall where a massive oak table stretched across the room, accommodating nearly 50 seats. The walls were adorned with intricate oriental designs featuring majestic dragons, while decorative swords added to the regal ambience. You're going to love Mom's cooking, Imai said enthusiastically as everyone settled into their seats. Mato, Kuroi, Momo, and Kurisu took their places as well, while Shujiki entered with a strikingly elegant woman by his side. She had long, wavy dark blue hair that cascaded down her back and deep blue eyes that shimmered with warmth. Dressed in a sophisticated dark blue kimono bearing the family's crest, she exuded grace. She stood slightly shorter than Shujiki and had a delicately heart-shaped face with a light tan complexion. "Mom!" Imei cried out, leaping over the table and straight into the woman's embrace. The woman immediately wrapped her arms around Imei, her voice filled with relief and emotion. "Oh, my sweet girl. Are you all right? Were you hurt? I was so worried." Tears welled in her eyes as she held her daughter tightly. Shujiki offered a gentle smile. "Minami, please relax, we have a guest," he reminded her, gesturing toward Naruko. Minami turned her gaze to where he was pointing. For a moment, she seemed stunned before her eyes widened in astonishment. "Is that Naruko?" she stammered, looking back at Shujiki for confirmation. He nodded, and without hesitation, she rushed over and embraced Naruko just as tightly as she had Imei. "You look so much like your father," she exclaimed before glancing back at Shujiki with a puzzled expression. "I thought you said she wouldn't be arriving until she was 14? Shujiki nodded. "I'll explain everything later," he assured her as the household staff began entering with trays of food, carefully setting them on the table. "Well then, everyone, help yourselves," Shujiki said as he reached for a dish of seasoned chicken. The evening was filled with cheerful conversation, laughter, and engaging storytelling. Hours passed quickly, and before they knew it, the clock struck midnight. Shujiki stretched slightly before speaking. "It's getting late, everyone should head to bed. Imei, could you show Naruko to the guest room?" "Of course, Daddy." "Come on, Naruko," Imei said cheerfully, taking her hand and leading her away. After they left, Kurisu burst into laughter. "Kun? Ha, looks like Imei has a special someone." The red-haired teen continued laughing until his mother gently tapped him on the head with a wooden spoon. "I think they make a wonderful pair," Minami commented matter-of-factly, while Kurisu groaned on the floor, rubbing his head. "Here you go, Naruko-kun," Imei said as she opened the door to Naruko's new room. "Wow, this is amazing!" Naruko exclaimed, taking in the space. The room featured a cozy-looking bed, shelves filled with books, a TV, a private bathroom, a weapon rack, and a small nightstand beside the bed. "Well, I hope you like it, Naruko-kun. If you need anything, my room is just down the hall. Good night," Imei said warmly before closing the door. Naruko collapsed onto her bed, letting out a deep sigh as her tired muscles finally relaxed. She gazed at the ceiling, her thoughts drifting. "I wonder how everyone else is doing," she mused before slowly drifting off to sleep. However, the moment she entered dreamland, her world flipped, literally. "Good morning, Naruko-chan." Shujiki's voice rang out as he flipped her mattress, sending her tumbling face first onto the wooden floor with a loud thud. "Ow! Shu Baka, what was that for?" Naruko groaned, rubbing her head. "Starting today, you're officially my apprentice. I'm going to train you to become one of the strongest shinobi Sunagakure has ever seen, maybe even stronger than me," Shujiki declared proudly, rubbing his chin. "But it's 3 in the morning. Naruko protested, gesturing wildly at the clock on her wall. "And? Training waits for no one. Now get dressed and meet me at the training grounds." With that, Shujiki turned on his heel and left the room, shutting the door behind him. Grumbling, Naruko got dressed and made her way to the training grounds. "All right, Naruko-chan, the first thing we'll do is determine your chakra nature," Shujiki explained, pulling out a small slip of paper and handing it to her. "What am I supposed to do with this?" Naruko asked, examining the thin sheet. "Just focus some chakra into the paper, and we'll see." Nodding, Naruko did as instructed, channeling her chakra into the paper. A moment later, it split cleanly in half. "Excellent. You have a wind affinity. That means you'll be able to learn a lot of my techniques. However, before I teach you anything, we need to work on your strength," Shujiki said, tossing a black tank top onto the ground in front of her. Naruko picked it up, raising an eyebrow. "What's this?" Put it on, and you'll see. Still confused, she removed her usual orange jacket and pulled the shirt over her head. Good. Now brace yourself, Shujiki warned as he formed a hand seal. The moment he activated the jutsu, Naruko crashed to the ground with a loud thud. What is this? She yelped, struggling to push herself up. That, Naruko-chan, is a gravity training shirt. It's covered in gravity seals that activate with a special technique. Your goal is to move as if it were a second skin, Shujiki explained. How heavy is this? Naruko asked, still struggling. If I remember correctly, about 300 pounds. What? And one more thing, you're not allowed to eat ramen unless I say so. What? Then what am I supposed to eat, Shu-sensei? Naruko whined. Shujiki smirked. Vegetables. No. There's nothing wrong with vegetables, Naruko-chan. They make you stronger and are good for your body. Now, get up and start moving. For the next 7 hours, Naruko trained relentlessly. At first, even standing was a challenge, but by the end of the session, she was able to walk, albeit a bit clumsily. Very good, Naruko-chan. Now go clean up, we have a meeting with the Kazekage, Shujiki instructed. Why yes, sensei, Naruko panted, exhausted. She turned to head back but suddenly realized something. Shu-sensei, you forgot to release the gravity seals. She called out. No, I didn't. Figure it out yourself, he replied simply. What? Come on, Shu-chan, this isn't funny. You saw the hand sign, didn't you? Release it yourself. Oh. Realizing her mistake, Naruko quickly performed the hand sign, feeling the weight lift off her body. She sighed in relief before dashing off to her room. After taking a quick shower, she searched for her clothes, only to find them missing. Instead, a note sat atop her dresser. Dear Naruko-chan, I have discarded those old outfits you called clothes and selected an entirely new wardrobe for you. No complaints. Your new attire can be found in the top left drawer. Sincerely. Shujiki Ryu, 20th clan head of the Ryu clan and head marshal of the Sunagakure Military Council. See? I told you those clothes were terrible, a familiar voice in her mind chimed in. Oh, hush, you dumb fox, Naruko retorted mentally, rolling her eyes. Opening the drawer, she found a tan poncho with hidden compartments for kunai, shuriken, and a katana, several pairs of black shinobi pants, white muscle shirts, a shuriken pouch and kunai holster bearing the Sunagakure symbol, a pair of black shinobi sandals, and a sleek katana with an orange swirl design running along its sheath. Another note rested on the sword. Naruko, if you want to learn how to use this, ask me at our next training session. Now this actually makes you look like a shinobi, the fox in her mind commented. Naruko smirked as she tied the sword to her waist. Maybe this training wouldn't be so bad after all. Yeah, whatever, Naruko murmured, stretching as she made her way downstairs. Waiting at the bottom of the staircase was Kurisu, who greeted her with a smile. Good morning, Kurisu. What's going on? Naruko asked. Nice outfit, Naruko. Anyway, my father asked me to take you to the Kazekage's office this morning, Kurisu informed her. Alright, let's get going. At the Suna council room. An elderly council member addressed Naruko with a curious expression. So, Uzumaki Naruko, from what Kazekage-sama has told us, you were exiled from Konohagakure after successfully completing a mission, an S-class mission, no less. Is that correct? Yes, Naruko responded with a nod. At this, the council members began murmuring among themselves. Has Konohagakure lost its senses? She managed to defeat Kazekage-sama while he was at full strength, and they still cast her out? That's unthinkable. With her abilities, she would be an exceptional addition to our shinobi ranks. Just imagine her potential after training under some of our top jonin. She completed an S-class mission as a Genon. Her potential is remarkable. The same elder who had initially spoken turned back to Naruko. After careful discussion, we have concluded that you would be a valuable addition to Sunagakure's forces. Given your friendship with Kazekage-sama, we trust that your loyalty lies with us. The elder then stood from his seat and signaled a nearby shinobi. Songai! He called. In an instant, a Suna shinobi landed beside him, holding a small ornate box. After handing it to the elder, the shinobi swiftly disappeared. The elder then opened the box, revealing a pristine Sunagakure headband. Welcome to your new home, Naruko Uzumaki, Genon of Sunagakure. He extended the headband to her. Naruko accepted it with gratitude, removing her Konoha headband and carefully tucking it into her pocket before tying the new one in its place. Thank you. This truly means a lot to me, she said sincerely. The elder gave a nod before continuing. Now, we need to finalize your placement within a squad. Are you familiar with the Kazekage's elder siblings? I don't know them personally, but I do know who they are, Naruko replied. Since Gaara-sama is now the Kazekage, he will be unable to participate in the Chunin exams. As a result, his teammates, Kankuro and Tamari, are left without a third member. After discussion, we have decided to assign you to their squad. Naruko considered this for a moment before nodding. That sounds fine to me. Excellent. Baki will be responsible for your training. The elder gestured towards a tall, stern-looking shinobi who approached her. I am Baki. Now, let's get moving, kid, he said in a firm but composed voice. Understood, Baki-sensei, Naruko responded, following him out of the council room. Training grounds. Baki led Naruko to a rooftop training area near the Kazekage's residence. As they arrived, he motioned toward the spacious training field. This is where we conduct training, he stated. Naruko took in her surroundings, several training dummies, 3 towering pillars likely used for wall walking exercises, a large dirt sparring circle in the center, and various other training equipment. From now on, you are expected to be here every morning at 8 sharp for training. Understood? Baki instructed. Yes, Baki-sensei, Naruko acknowledged with determination. Alright, wait here for Kankuro and Tamari. They should be here in a few minutes. I have some matters to attend to, so I'll be back in about half an hour. In the meantime, when they arrive, try not to upset them, alright? Baki instructed before leaping off the building and heading toward the Kazekage's residence. After waiting for approximately 10 minutes, Kankuro and Tamari arrived. Tamari blinked in surprise as she noticed Naruko standing there. What is she doing here? She wondered, turning to her brother for an explanation. Oh, right. I forgot to mention, she's now a ninja of Sunagakure and our new teammate. If you're curious about the details, just ask Gaara later, Kankuro explained. He then approached Naruko with a smirk. So, how have you been, shorty? I'm not short. But to answer your question, I've been doing well, Naruko responded confidently. Since you're doing well, how about a friendly spar? Kankuro suggested, retrieving Karasu from his back. Naruko gave him a determined smile. Sure. I'd be happy to spar. Oh, and I'll try not to mess up your face paint too much, she teased. Kankuro frowned at the remark and quickly unwrapped Karasu. I don't care if we're teammates now, I'm not going to hold back, he declared, clapping his hands together in preparation. Kugatsu no Jutsu. Suddenly, the eerie puppet known as Karasu sprang to its feet, standing upright like a human. Kankuro flexed his fingers slightly, prompting Karasu to extend its arm, open its hand, and release a rapid burst of senbone. Naruko swiftly dodged to the side, narrowly avoiding the attack. Kage Bunshine no Jutsu. She called out, forming her well-known hand seal. A single clone appeared beside her. The clone immediately placed its hands over Naruko's, channeling chakra until it formed a perfectly condensed sphere. Rasengan! Naruko shouted, charging forward and thrusting the glowing orb of chakra straight into Kankuro's chest. The impact sent pieces flying in every direction. However, instead of flesh and bone, the fragments revealed themselves to be puppet parts, specifically, the remains of Kurori. Naruko's eyes widened in surprise. He switched with another puppet. But where is he now? She wondered, quickly scanning her surroundings. Unbeknownst to her, Kankuro was crouched behind an air conditioning unit atop a nearby building, observing her carefully. Good, she didn't spot me, he muttered under his breath. Still searching for her opponent, Naruko suddenly felt a sharp sting as a kunai grazed her cheek. She turned just in time to see Karasu soaring toward her. If that puppet is still active, then Kankuro must be close, she deduced, forming a familiar hand sign. Kage Bunshin no Jutsu. 10 identical clones appeared in a flash. All right, everyone. Keep that puppet occupied while I track down Makeup Face. She commanded. Right. Her clones shouted in unison, immediately charging at Karasu. Kankuro scowled. Which one is the real one? He thought, growing frustrated as he destroyed clone after clone. Just as he was about to eliminate another, he suddenly felt the cold edge of a metal blade pressed against his throat. Game's up, Makeup Face, Naruko said confidently. How? Kankuro exclaimed in shock. Naruko smirked. Before I arrived, Baki warned me not to provoke you. So, just in case, I created a clone and had it hide on a nearby rooftop as a backup plan. During our fight, after summoning my clones, I also used the substitution jutsu while the battlefield was still clouded with smoke. That way, the transition blended seamlessly with my shadow clone jutsu. While my clones kept your puppet busy, I searched for you. And now, here we are. Kankuro sighed in defeat. Humph. Fine, Uzumaki, you win. With that, he released Kugatsu no Jutsu, causing Karasu to collapse lifelessly. From the sidelines, Tamari watched with admiration. That was a well-executed strategy, she thought, impressed. As Kankuro gathered the scattered pieces of his puppet, he groaned. It's going to take me all night to repair Kurori. Just then, Baki returned. I'm back from my meeting. What happened here? He asked. Uzumaki defeated Kankuro in a match, Tamari reported. Baki raised an eyebrow. Really? Impressive. Though in truth, he had been secretly watching the entire battle from the Kazekage's castle. This girl has talent. Training her is going to be interesting, he thought. We have a mission tomorrow, Baki announced. Meet me at the northeast gate at noon. I'll explain the details then. Dismissed. And with that, he vanished once more. As they walked home, Kankuro continued grumbling. She broke the firing mechanism, the separation device, cracked the head in two, and... Enough already. Tamari thought, growing irritated with her younger brother's complaints. Finally, they reached their home. Well, I suppose this gives me something to do, Kankuro muttered as he opened the door. Want me to make you something to eat? Tamari offered as she headed toward the kitchen. Kankuro stiffened. No thanks. I'm not really hungry. Yeah, that's it. Anyway, good night. He hurriedly dashed up to his room, clutching his broken puppet. Collapsing onto his bed, he sighed in relief. That was close. Then, a mischievous thought crossed his mind. Maybe I should warn Naruko about Tamari's cooking. Or should I let her find out on her own? He smirked. Am I really that kind of person? Yeah, I totally am. The next day at the northeast gate. All right, you three, here's our mission, Baki began. One of our most skilled medical nin left the village last month without permission. Recently, he was spotted near Amigakure. Our task is to locate him, detain him, and uncover the reason behind his departure. If possible, we will bring him back. This is classified as a B-rank mission. A B-rank mission? Kankuro questioned. Why does this fall under that category? Baki responded, not only is he highly proficient in medical ninjutsu, but he also possesses exceptional skills in both ninjutsu and genjutsu. Additionally, we are uncertain if he is traveling alone or has companions. What's his name? Tamari inquired. He is known only as Sudarusu. He has short white hair, green eyes, and an X-shaped scar over his left eye. As for his attire, he has likely changed from his previous clothing to avoid recognition. Now, let's move out. Baki commanded. Hi. Kankuro, Tamari, and Naruko responded in unison. Dear YouTube family. That's a wrap for now. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to my channel for more exciting content. Thank you for your support. Anime Dreams.